So if you want top dollar and minimum drama in selling your home, the biggest prep isn't cosmetic. It's not staging. It's paperwork. It's proof. It's evidence. It's maintenance records. Most deals don't fall apart because of paint colors or where you have your dining room table laid out. They fall apart because of surprises that come in the 11th hour when tensions are running high. People are starting to get a serious case of buyer's remorse. It's starting to get real. People are starting to write checks out. So our goal is today is to help you avoid those.
Yep. Today we're going to walk you through, as a seller, how to get prepared to put your home on the market with paperwork, permits, disclosures, really everything that you come to expect to help a nice, easy transaction for both you and the buyer.
Yeah. Some of this is going to come before you're working with your agent. You can start to get ready for that. And some of it's going to become while you're working with your agent to get your house on the market. Well, welcome back to For Real. I'm Michael Barbaro, broker here in the New Haven area. And with me is my co-host, Stephanie Paul, business partner. Hi, Steph.
Hello.
Good holiday?
I had a very nice holiday. How was yours?
Very good. Nice holiday.
All right. Well, let's get into this. So let's start with what buyers are asking for when we get into a transaction. I know we want to take you back. We'll take you back from the very beginning, but let's go jump right to what buyers are looking for when they get into a transaction to help a seller prepare.
Sure. Look, we want to put buyers' minds at ease, right? And so they're looking for disclosure. Much disclosure is required by law. Here in the state of Connecticut, there's a required disclosure that needs to be completed. Do your best to fill that out and fill it out as completely as possible.
Every buyer asks us for them. Even before they see homes, they want to see it. They want to go through all the details, the age of the furnace, the roof, all the big ticket items. They want to see what's going on with the house.
And it's statutory, right? There's some agents that are out there and some attorneys that are out there saying, if you don't want to provide that information, you can just pay the $500. That is not my interpretation. I've had many conversations with this about this. My interpretation of that law, I've read it many times, is that if you fail to provide to the buyer those disclosures prior to them making a decision on whether they want to buy your house or make an offer on your house, the penalty for failure is a $500 fine. It doesn't mean you're obfuscated of your duty to disclose, right? It doesn't mean, well, I paid that, so now I don't have to say if there's something that I'm unaware of. Also, be as honest as possible. It will likely come out. I can't tell you how many times I've been at a home inspection and we find signs of water and the disclosures say there's no signs of water. My client will call a local basement dewatering company, one of the and often they call one of the really popular ones, and the salesman will say, "Yeah, we were here. We spoke to the owner." Right? So lying doesn't help.
Yeah, it just sets it up for the buyers to be nervous about everything throughout the transaction.
It's right, and when that happens, someone's going to come in. Well, if they were lying about this, what else are they lying about? What else are they hiding? So start getting prepared. If you know things about the property, if you know things need to be repaired, get them repaired. And if you can't get them repaired, some people don't have the funds to actually make any repairs on the house. As minor as it might be, or as major as it might be, I think it's the most important to disclose it. When someone walks in a house and they start to find things, and if you get to the point of inspection, they will find things because they come through your house with a fine-tooth comb, and that is their job, to come in and set the expectations of the buyer. They want the buyer to know what they're buying and what they can anticipate. So even if it's a leak, a leaky toilet, or a faucet, or a doorknob that doesn't work, or a screen that's ripped, if you could afford to do it, get your house ready, get it prepped, and if not, just get it disclosed on what's on the disclosure documents. No surprises. Price it in, right? I can't afford to, I don't know, have this hole in my wall fixed, but I know it's here, and we've taken it into consideration, and disclose that as well, right? We know that the hole in the wall is going to cost $500 to fix, and so we've lowered the price by $500, knowing that you, the potential buyer, is going to have to spend that. And I think that's I think that gets you way ahead of the rest of the game.
And also maybe gathering some receipts of work that you had done so you can provide it to the buyer. I mean, we can talk about inspections if you want to a little bit. We just touched on it, but there's some items that come up at almost every inspection, the hot water heater age. So if you're maintaining these things and you have proof of that, that might help get through the inspection, might even avoid some sort of credits or repairs or things like that.
Right. And don't get me wrong, prepping your house also means what most sellers think that it means. It means decluttering. It means getting your house staging. It's taking down, maybe personal pictures. Another important one would be
jewelry. You definitely want to
taking your jewelry
get rid
and
of
not
that.
leaving it out, and making sure there's no money laying around, or personal paperwork that you wouldn't want anyone to see, and medications, like all the things. Yes, getting your house ready like that is important. I don't want to downplay that.
No, I mean, even staging works. It really helps people picture themselves in the home. But we're really talking about here getting through the transaction, keeping a nice, smooth transaction for the seller, and what they can do in advance, and gathering those receipts, getting your furnace serviced, putting that package of the disclosures together well in advance. Even, it's a DCP form. Anybody can find it online if they want to see what the disclosures look like and what type of questions. But ultimately, you want to disclose everything, and you want to be prepared for any buyer that comes and the questions that they have.
And, having walked thousands of buyers into houses, when you walk into a house and there's a set of disclosures there and maintenance records, it makes people feel comfortable. I will tell you, every home inspection I do, if there's not a tag on the heating system that it was recently maintained, and maintenance was performed on it, they'll request that. So it's almost standard; they're going to request it. If you have a regular cadence of having your heating system, your HVAC system serviced every year, maybe move it up a little bit if you're going to do it. It's going to be asked for. That is in your benefit to show people and demonstrate what they've done. Another thing is, if you have receipts for your mechanicals and for your for your utilities and what you spend and how much you spend on lawn care, people are going to ask that.
Yep.
The more information you have, the smarter you are as a seller, the less friction in the transaction, and it makes the buyers, which are in a very tenuous situation in the first place, makes them feel more comfortable. But people are going to ask that question. I never understood why someone wanted to know what it cost me to heat my house, because it could change so much based on,
Usage.
On how much usage. Do you keep it high? Do you keep it low? Are people in the home all day, right? In my house, my family is home all day. My kids were homeschooled, and so people are in the house all day. Our electric bill is going to be significantly more than someone who is not necessarily in the home all day. However, people want a benchmark. And if you could say, this is my bill, but we're here all day, and there's 3 children, and we're always doing laundry, and computers running all day, and I have an office at home that I work from, and we have a home automation system. You could explain it away, but having that documentation, putting it together, rather than having to go look for it, it's essential. It's essential. And it's even more essential, and I think we're going to talk about this in a later segment, if you're selling a multifamily home. Buyers of multifamily homes, they're looking for those expenses. What are you paying for insurance? What are you paying for the water bill that might be yours? What bills do you as the landlord have? These are important things to do. They're less sexy than the staging aspect of this. They're less obvious than the decluttering, which was a very important part of the process. But what this is going to do is prevent surprises down the road, which can be either deal killers in some cases, or costly to you, the seller, in other cases.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point about multis. Definitely getting the paperwork together so that the buyers can see. A lot of times, even mortgage companies will request information. But, we just sold a huge portfolio for one of our clients, and they had a lot of increased value just from having a unit empty, a unit vacant when they go to sell it. It just opens up a large pool of buyers that wouldn't be able to purchase the home if it was fully occupied. I don't know if you want to touch on that a little.
Yeah, if you have an opportunity to vacate one of the floors of a multifamily home, you definitely broaden your buyer pool. If you have a home that's fully occupied, you're likely looking at an investor only. You might have someone who can buy it with the intention of moving in the future. But it's important to, if you can, have that unit vacant, or at least one unit. It makes showings exponentially easier. It also makes the amount of showings that you will get and requests for showings substantially higher. So I think if you have that opportunity, and some people don't have that luxury, it has to be. We can sell anything, but we definitely want to do that. And I will say, while we're on this subject, don't leave your tenants out of the process. Don't let them find out that the house is for sale when someone like me with a client knocks on the door. It's a rude thing to do. It sets the wrong tone, and often people won't let us in. They're very angry, and you have to take this you have to understand this, right? The tenant is often pretty scared about what this means for them. Does this mean I'm going to have to move out at some point? I get no benefit as the tenant of people coming through my house. Now I have to keep my house looking good. I have to be available when I'm not even party to this transaction. So one of the things we do is build that relationship with tenants and try and make it as painless as possible for them. Work around their schedules when they could all be there. Be a better seller is what the theme of today is.
All right, well, we're going to take a little break. We're going to come back and talk about some more things like HOAs, disclosures. We'll get into the disclosures a little bit. So we'll see you in a couple.
All right, we're back. Where are we going next?
Well, I just want to talk a little bit about HOA and solar panels, too. They kind of, just to finish off our conversation that we were just having, but really preparing your documentation for whether you're in an HOA. A lot of questions we get from buyers are, can the unit be rented, or the pet policy on it? So that also tied in with solar. If you have solar on your property, you're going to have some paperwork that comes along with that.
No, it's definitely a good topic. First of all, HOA, homeowners association. Most people are most familiar with homeowners associations through condominiums. If you live in a condominium, you have restrictions on your rights to live there. Things like pet restrictions, and they run the gambit, right? They could be anything from no pets allowed to
weight restrictions,
or the quantity of pets, or what type of pets. Maybe one cat, one dog, maybe only cats, whatever the case might be. You have restrictions on parking, and some restrictions that you wouldn't even imagine. Some condominium associations won't allow you to park a pickup truck, for instance. Now, it could be $100,000 pickup truck, doesn't matter, not allowed. Some have no commercial lettering. So if you work in an industry where you drive a vehicle that has commercial lettering, you may not be able to park it there, or how many vehicles you can park. This is so important. And look, imagine being the management company, and a new condo goes on the market for $395,000. The people that are interested, they're going to need the answers to those questions. They have pets, they have vehicles, they have jobs where they may have commercially lettered vehicles. So these people are now going to start reaching out to your property manager. Your property manager might have 5 other condominiums for sale on that same property. And imagine getting 10, 15, 20, maybe 30 calls on each one, all with similar questions, some exactly the same question, some different. This is information you, as the seller, should work with your agent, work with your management company, get the answers up front. Often in a listing, we'll see pets, yes. Well, that's wonderful. Wait, pets, yes. But what are the details behind that? And so the more work you could do up front, I promise you, your management company will be happier with you. But it's more information that you can provide. Less people will move on. Some people don't want to do that extra work. So HOA associations and what you can and can't do, critical to make sure that as much of that as you could do in advance. There is some work that you'll have to do once you have a buyer that is specific to the buyer. But early on, you can do the things that are going to kind of triage the buyers and determine who can buy and who cannot buy within that complex.
And what about solar panels? What would you suggest a seller have prepared for a solar panel? I know there's a lot of different kinds, so maybe touch on that quickly too.
Yeah, one thing I think I neglected before we go to solar panels is a big question. Another question we get on a condominium is, can it be rented? Find that out. Find out, and then some can be rented after a certain period of time. There's only a certain
waitlisted.
Only a certain amount in the condominium association can be rented out. So you might have hit that maximum, and you would have to wait list until other people no longer rent them and owner occupy them. So rentals, pets, parking restrictions, anything else important. Solar panels is another important one because In some cases, a buyer may not actually qualify if they have to factor in a solar panel lease that is deeded and runs with the property.
Right.
So
for their mortgage, qualify for their mortgage, depending
they
on how
might
much
not qualify
the lease
for
is.
their mortgage, right? That extra payment that they're going to be liable for might put them over the top and over their maximum ratio, so they may not. And that is something you don't want to find out after a buyer. Certainly a buyer doesn't want to find this out, and nor do you as a seller. You don't want to find this out after the buyer has gone through the process of doing their home inspection and applying for their mortgage. And all of a sudden you get to the end and it's like, well, wait a minute. We're finding out now that we have to be, as a buyer, approved by the solar company to take over that lease, have it assigned to me, and now that adds an additional monthly payment, which may affect your ability to borrow money on the condominium. Solar is another thing. Understand what type of solar you have.
They're
Do you
all
own
so
them?
different.
They're
Even
all so
even
different.
from the same company, they can vary. So
Correct.
widely.
Have your paperwork. Have your contract ready.
Right.
Make contact with the company. Let them know you're putting the house on the market. Ask them what you can do, what paperwork they can send you in advance that you'll have. Again, become a smarter seller. Participate in that sale and remove that friction. Will bring you a drama-free transaction, and I think that's what the goal here is of today's conversation.
Yeah, I know we talked about disclosures, but just go over with me. Let's talk about what disclosures are required, what disclosures you like to include and might help with the sale. I know we include the inclusion exclusion, so that would be what of your personal property is being included with the property. So like TV stands is something that we see a lot, TVs affixed to the wall, and other things that might come up that, pool equipment and stuff like that.
Yeah, personal property is not a required, but it's absolutely necessary to know what's included. Tools around the fireplace, whatever the case might be. Like you said, pool equipment, outdoor furniture, things to that effect. The ones that are required, state of Connecticut has a residential property condition report. It has a series of questions. It's about 8 or 9 pages. I can't remember now.
It's not fun to fill out, but
It's not fun to fill out. You have to do it on your own.
Gotta do it,
Your agent is not supposed to assist you. That's one that's required. If the home was built before 1978, prior to 1978, you require a disclosure for lead-based paint. And you have to fill that out to the best of your ability. And then other disclosures that are good disclosures, we would say, are the personal property disclosure, expenses on the property, whether you have a tenant or not, whether you have one tenant or multiple tenants. Put the information about the tenant. When did the lease start? What is their monthly rent? How much is their security deposit? When does it expire? Has it expired? Are they current? If not, what are they in arrears on? This is all information that's ultimately going to come out, and you want it to be known up front so we can deal with it rather than at the closing table where it's going to be much more costly for you.
yeah, I mean, a lot of this conversation has been kind of geared towards making the buyer comfortable in the transaction, but that ultimately is what benefits the seller. It helps you get top dollar for your home. It helps the transaction be smooth. Less requests come in after inspection. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to finish up talking about some permits and photos and some other little things that can help prepare you. So we'll see you in a couple minutes.
All right, we are back. Where are we going?
Let's talk about having your property permitted properly. A lot of things that we see come up at appraisals. We talked a lot about inspections, but at an appraisal, if the buyer is getting financed, sometimes if they just want to have an appraisal on the property, an appraiser is going to go through and check out your property and make sure it's in decent enough condition depending on the mortgage type. But a lot of times we see, bathrooms with no permits, which can cause issues, can cause the deal to fall apart, can cause you to have to fix things. So how does a seller prepare for that?
Yeah, so that's an interesting topic. Agents handle that differently. Our process for handling that is we want to just disclose what is legally there. If you have a finished basement, that's wonderful. If it's not permitted, it's probably not going to be on the land records. It's not the town is not going to know about it. It means you're probably not paying property taxes on it, and if you haven't, that's great. We understand. But at the end of the day, it's hard to get benefit out of that when you're selling it. Right. People do it all the time. Some sellers want it to be forced. We prefer to get those permitted and get it resolved, or just close it. Look, we have an extra bathroom in the basement. You can take a shower in it. You can use the bathroom. A person can use it, but it's not going to count. So we personally don't list that as an additional bathroom. But if you can get it resolved, get it resolved. If you have open permits, now this is a many of your, when you get to your attorney or to your closing attorney, they'll offer a service where they will let you know if there is an open permit. What an open permit is, it means the owner of the property took out a permit, or one of my contractors to do some work, took out a permit, maybe did the inspections, but never closed it out. So they can find open permits. What you don't find in those types of searches at the town hall is you don't find out if there was not a permit taken out. Right. So it'll often come out, right? It'll find out that you'll see a brand new remodeled basement or something like that, and the appraiser will always ask, and many agents are asking that now too. I mean, years ago, no one asked. Everyone expected people to have a finished basement. Today, more and more people are asking, when they see work done, do you have copies of all the permits and either the certificate of occupancy or the certificate of compliance, depending on the extent of the work. But sort out your permits, make sure you understand it. Our MO is always to be forthright with people. We have this finished area, but the town doesn't recognize it as that. You could always go to the town and have them recognize it,
right? So
you can get the benefit out of it. Get that stuff done up front, because when it happens, like anything else, later in the game, later in the process, it's just it's costly.
Yeah, and it causes issues. It's a great point. Let's talk briefly for the last couple minutes while we're here about pictures. I know professional pictures are a big sale item. It really helps showcase your home as good as possible. But a lot of times we also see they'll put these beautiful and even like AI staged pictures up on the listing, and then it's a disappointment for the buyer when they walk in to see that it's not in the condition that they were expecting.
Look, AI is here, right? And people are going to be virtually staging properties. Just be clear about it. The MLS tries to build some rules around it. DCP has even sent out some instructions around it recently. But do your best. Obviously, yes, we always do professional photos. We always do floor plans. Very helpful for people. Mm-hmm. Do your best to have the pictures be as honest and as accurate a representation of the property. You'll get to the point, even the most unsophisticated buyer, I'll often talk, I can see the pictures, and I can see when the room looks like it's the tile floor or the wood floor. Instead of going straight in the picture, it's curving. Well, we know they use some kind of a wide angle lens. So you're trying to make a room look bigger than it is. Often people are disappointed when you get to that point. I've seen it, right? I've witnessed it. They come in, they're expecting something, and then they get very disappointed, and you lose that. You lose them right at that point.
Right.
So
then you end up with a lot of showings and no offers, and that's not ultimately what
and the showings are inconvenient. Your first showing now happens on Zillow, Realtor.com, your favorite brokerage site, maybe something that your agent sent you through the MLS. But your first showing today is online.
Yeah. And
so try to be as honest with the images as you can, right? I've seen people take pictures and leave out, like a factory right next door. If there's a factory next door, put the factory in the picture, right? Let's.
They're going to see it when they come there anyway.
And we've all seen the body language change, and you've wasted our time, we've wasted the buyer's time, we wasted the seller's time to get the house ready, to get out of their house, maybe get their pet out or family members to do it. So, let's wrap like this. Disclose as much as possible. Information. Provide as much information as you possibly can. Get ready for it. Questions will be asked anyway. It's nice to have it up front. It also represents you, and it looks like you've taken care of the property. It's a way for people to judge your character and to judge how well you might have taken care of your property. And be as honest and forthright as you can. And I think you'll have a good sale.
All right. Well, this has been a great chat. I think a lot of people are going to get some information out of this. But if you have any additional questions, you can reach us at forreal@wtnh.com or comment on the videos, and we'll get your questions answered.
Or you can stop us in the grocery store like I have. And I was walking my dog the other day. So any way you can get us, just reach out, ask. And,
we're happy to help.
We're happy to help, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.